We have covered the work of Wolfgang Hermann Zahn in episode 344 and 363. Today we will review his 1932 Ich Suche Morna. The novel begins with the narrator Dr. Shorthouse trying to explain the strange events of 3 most unusual days he had suffered through in the past, and trying to find a scientific explanation for what happened. On October the 24th, 1907, Dr. Shorthouse was visited by his friend Ernst Whetstone, who began to inquire about the character of Reginald Duff, who had affianced Whetstone's daughter Isabella in India. He is concerned about his moral character, given his father Archibald Duff was an infamous rogue and drunkard who got stabbed to death in a dirty sailor's pub. Shorthouse placates Wheatstone, but then remembers an interview he had with Reginald, where Reginald asked him about his uncle Noel Duff, who was both a doctor and a magnetiseur, i.e. a hypnotist. Reginald had heard his uncle had abused his powers while treating his patients, and asked Shorthouse for his opinion, as he intends to break with his uncle for good anyway, hating him immensely. A while later, Shorthouse sees the two together in friendly conversation, and so has doubts about Reginald's honour. In the present, Shorthouse is told by Whetstone that Reginald, on returning from India, became very ill, and had sent a telegram saying he is staying at his uncle's house to recover. Isabella wants to go see him, and Whetstone asks the doctor to accompany them. On the way to the laboratory behind Noel Duff's house, Shorthouse is stopped in the darkness by a fleeting vision. For just a moment he sees Morna Duff, Reginald's long-dead mother. Then as they reach the laboratory they find it set on fire. Wheatstone goes mad and tries to climb the burning window frame to try and save Reginald, but he barely gets away himself. Isabella falls into a semi-coma from the news of Reginald's death, and Shorthouse has to nurse both her and Wheatstone. Then he sees another vision of Morna, who hands him a book. He laughs at the whole thing as being nothing more than a dream, but then he sees he still has the book she gave him. He proceeds to not read it for days, before realizing what it is. It is Morna Duff's diary. We are told of Morna Duff's love to Noel Duff, and how her love was violently opposed by her father, who nearly turned her out of his house when she wouldn't marry a rich man instead. Then Noel's brother Archibald comes back from India, and sends Noel there to try and build up some sort of footing for marriage. But then he suddenly has a letter from Noel showcasing him as the most despicable of men, and is there to console Morna, and then, well, they get married instead. But soon after, Archibald becomes a horrible, brutish rogue to her, and then Noel shows up and she finds out he never wrote the letter Archibald gave her. Then Noel stabs Archibald to death and takes Morna into his own house, which he is never allowed to leave. Though initially portrayed as the sympathetic of the two brothers, we learn he is an even worse devil of a man, imprisoning his brother's soul in the body of a hideous mangy dog, which he also made immortal so his suffering would never end, and did the same to a man from India who betrayed him, whom he shut in a glass case and made him suffer from the Black Plague forever without ever being able to die. After Morna's death, her daughter Morna remains living at Noel Duff's house, never learning he is her father until she finds and reads her mother's diary. Then she finds out what Noel Duff wants to do to Isabella and Reginald. So Morna uses an explosive mechanism to burn down the laboratory, killing Noel Duff, who we never see alive in the present, and saves them, including Reginald, who shows up out of nowhere. A very dark story, which did not go as one expected.